told her father who he was, or if Sigerius simply recognized him, the tall, bald photographer from the Tubantia Weekly, who buzzed around the rector during public appearances like a horsefly with a single-lens reflex. The latter option, he thought, was more flattering, just as anyone on campus would feel flattered to be recognized by the charismatic man who at this very moment was crushing his hand to a pulp. Siem Sigerius was, since his appointment in 1993, the Helios of Tubantia University, a blazing sun around which 8,000 students and hard-working academics orbited in calm little ellipses, surprised yet grateful that he would bathe their campus, of all places, in his warmth, and not the Binnenhof in The Hague, where he had turned down a plum government post, or one of the big American universities that vied for his favor. The first time Aaron had seen Joni's father was on television several years earlier, when he was still living with his folks in Venlo. The August following his final exams, something possessed him and his brother to become fanatical Sommerhasten viewers, and one of those exhilarating, reflective Sunday evening marathon interviews was with a mathematical judoka. Or was it a judo-practicing mathematician? Anyway, a man whose ideal TV evening selection alternated video fragments of judo star Wim Ruska, edgy jazz, the Tokyo 1964 Olympics, and a Dutch comedian, with documentaries about prime numbers and Fermat's last theorem. Aaron recalled a clip where a talkative physicist succeeded in giving sworn art majors like him and his brother the impression that they actually understood something of quantum mechanics. Richard Feynman, Sigerius said later, "We'd just buried him." The man himself rubbed his stubbly jaw and talked about computers, about the universe, about M.C. Escher, as though anything else was a complete waste of time. It turned out he'd also judoed against Heysink and Ruska, but owed this television appearance mainly to the fact that he'd been awarded a Fields Medal, a distinction the host called the Nobel Prize for Mathematics. Since then, Sigerius had grown into the national poster boy scientist. Their rector would regularly, after a full workday on campus, pull up a seat on the evening news or a talk show and offer scientific commentary on current affairs, dazzlingly intelligent, yet at the same time remarkably down-to-earth. Never a word of gibberish. As photographer for the Weekly, Aaron was front and center when Sigerius set up shop in the university's administrative wing, and what his camera saw, everybody saw. This was exactly the man Tubantia needed. Just by being himself, Sigerius had liberated this overlooked and underrated university from its Twents timidity and inferiority complex. In his inaugural address, he vowed to turn Tubantia into the Netherlands' premier research institute, a phrase that was broadcast that same day on the national news. He was a media magnet. No sooner had somebody uttered the word university than the cauliflower ears appeared on air, and their rector gave, on behalf of their university, his opinion on the competitive position of Dutch research schools, on girls' technical ability, on the future of the internet, you name it. Sigerius just as effortlessly attracted top international scholars. Maybe it was a pity that the Fields Medal wasn't a genuine Nobel Prize. Of course that was a pity. But his aura of mathematical genius still mesmerized investors in pure science, dyscalculic MPs with education portfolios, communications giants, and chip manufacturers whose labs sprang up around the university. And perhaps even school kids. They too recognized Sigerius's stubble mug from TV. Don't forget the precious progeny. Each year the little brats had to be lured to that godforsaken hick town in Twente. How do you entice them? How do you hook them? The Pied Piper of Tubantia, bare-assed in the daily papers. "Nice work," he said, and released Aaron's hand. He'd taken the photo on a Sunday afternoon in Houghton, just after they'd finished rowing the varsity, the traditional student regatta between boats from various universities. Blaubroek, the editor-in-chief of the Weekly, had assured Aaron that something special was on the cards. The Tubantia boat had an Olympic skipper on board, as well as an oarsman with the Holland 8 Atlanta crew. Still, it was unusual for a university rector to sacrifice his free day to accompany a busload.